Welcome back to another episode of CricChat powered by Umar Sheikh. Today we have two big personalities of CDCL. We have Tayyib Kiani from Night Riders.
Thank you.
CCA is represented by Hamza Butt, and we're going to have an amazing conversation so we can clear the air. First of all, I welcome you both.
Thank you, Samir. Thank you for having me for the third time.
But yeah, and I just want to ask you, Tayyib, I want to start with you.
Sure.
What does this final mean to you?
Samir, I'm glad that, you brought this up as well to a starting question, which is great. It's not just Night Riders, it's for any club. You work really, really hard to get to a final, right? To be where you are. And especially the way our playoff situation was going, and you probably saw that too. Vikas hit 2 sixes on last 2 balls against Black Caps to qualify, and then you win the next qualifier and eliminator, and then you win another qualifier, and then you make it there. So of course it meant a lot for us. Like for the guys, you work all year long to get into the championship, and it means everything. To be honest with you.
What does it mean to you?
I mean, for us, again, it's accomplishment. We as a team, we work very hard. I personally work very hard. 3-4 times a week. I do practice, and I know nobody does that in CDCL except me. So I am 40-plus-year-old, and my fitness I have to maintain. And all the players in CCA work very hard. And it's an honor for us to play elite playoffs. And now it's a component attached with it, right? It's a winning prize as well,
right?
With the trophy, with the winning prize. So hard work pays off in the end. So it was again accomplishment for us.
When I had Paul on the show last, he said there was shouting from the outside, and right after that, the no ball was called. Can you walk me through that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a natural thing, right? I'll give you a small example. If you are sitting outside and you're playing for the team, any league game, if you see any full toss, natural, you say, it's full toss, no ball. You don't direct it to the umpire, you just talk, right?
Sure.
So there were players sitting down and nobody shouted, but they said, it's no ball. That's what we think. Other players think. There were some senior players of the club, and they were sitting down. That's it. And it's never meant to say something to umpire. It was just a call that from Omar, and it's we felt that that's a no ball. That's it.
Okay. So you yelled for the first time, or your team just shouted that okay, it's a no ball.
Yes.
And then he didn't call it, and then you shouted again.
No.
The next ball.
No. Just one time.
Just one time.
Just one time.
And then he observed, and then he had a conversation
with the leg umpire, and then he decided to give it no ball, which was his call, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we have been playing. We played with Night Riders in 40 overs, and Shani bowled. And I remember talking to Shani after the game. I said, Shani bhai, throw na karo. Angle ठीक होता है, but throw na karo. That was my conversation with Shani.
Okay.
And it's always me and Ahmed Bajwa. I was been talking to him. I've been sending email to league. I have email records I can share from last 3 years. There is a particular guy in Zalmi, and he's been throwing ball with his action pictures, and no action has been taken. And they didn't even reply for my email. So I think there is a gap between the communication. I do have those emails. I'll share with you, and you can, share with your program, with the pictures. I mean, this guy is throwing. What is going on? This guy is throwing, and we cannot judge it, right? We cannot see it, but when you saw something unnatural, then you say for it. And it was a big game, and Night Rider has a very good bowlers. Azmat did a phenomenal spell. We didn't say that's no ball, right? There was no intention for somebody to say, but when you say something wrong, then you just talk. And we feel there was something wrong, and and Paul took his stand, which is his decision. If I am umpiring the game, honestly speaking, I will do the same thing. I will give you a small example. Nothing against Night Riders, but I'll give you an example. I was umpiring in 5 years back at Riley Park. And there was a game of courts happening. That time, Kanwar was under 19 player. Kanwar Man. Right? And Lovepreet. Both of them were playing that game 6-7 years before, or I think more than that. So I was leg umpiring that time. And so Kanwar came and he bowled. And I said, no ball. because he was throwing that time. Everybody know he throws initially when he started. And then he ball again, and then again no ball. I was umpiring, I feel it, I'll give in no ball. It's up to the umpire. If he says something and if they see something and they want to give a no ball, it's their call, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Lovepreet came. And we know that Lovepreet has changed his action from that. And then he bowled and he was bowling Tattoo. And I was like, no ball. 3 no balls of him, 2 balls of Karmar. And then there was another situation happen in Kings versus CCA game is 5 year back. Tahir Bhai, he's lately, and he was playing against Kanwar and
Okay.
Lovepreet, and they were throwing the ball, and Tahir Bhai said, "What are you guys doing?" And he stand and he just throw the ball. If you are not giving the no ball, then we will throw the ball too. We can do it. So it's again it's if a particular bowler has not given by any umpire, it's up to the umpire, not his fault, not a team fault. It's umpires who have allowed a person to bowl all the way to the leagues. Or I know Shani Bhai has bowled in a playoff in eliminators, but it's umpires' call. Right? It's not their mistake. It's not our mistake, and there is no control that we do, and it's not control. You know, they do, right? So it's something that is umpire judgment, and I think if Paul called it and he stick on it, for my point of view, I respect all night riders. I have a very good relation with everybody. It's his decision and he was right that time.
Okay.
And there was a no ball, and no ball means no ball, right? It's not gonna impact night rider for one ball. I think they should have, carry on the game, and by the end of the whatever decision they make, they can. But it's the umpire decision. We know this league is controlled by our bylaw says that umpire decision is the final decision.
Okay.
There is no I cannot change it. In every match, I am 100% sure that Knight Rider player has given out that were not actually out. Some instances, LPW or catch or something. And same thing happened with CCA. Every game I have been messaging and posting. I'll give you an example. Samuswa was bowling against Zalmi this season, 40-over game, and he bowled a farm. But I did not notice. The board was not given out. I have a video for that. I can share that. So this is very small thing, that no ball issue or jerking or something, and he was not given out. And we were like, and then in the replay, one of the umpires checked on the camera and said, "Yeah, it was board." So when the board is not given out, what could I say, right?
I'll let you respond to that,
For
but
sure,
I
no
want to
problem.
ask you this question. Paul mentioned in the podcast
Yeah.
that none of the Knight Rider players actually defended the bowler, saying that he's not chucking.
Mhm.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, for sure. So the thing is, at that time, I think it was not the matter of him chucking or not chucking, because when we look at the things before, and Ahmedabad is right, I'll go back to the same point. 6, 7 years ago, I can't remember the exact same date. There were a few players that he mentioned. I didn't want to mention him, but he already did it. So there was few calls. There was another guy from Canada, left armor. He was called, and games were not happening. There's a lot of fights happening and everything happening. And Shabazz Bhai actually mentioned in the comment as well. So this issue is not the first time. This issue was brought in a lot of times, like a lot of times before that. The only thing is, I'm not sure exactly what happened. So before, we did have a lot of talks about. I'm not sure why it wasn't put in the bylaws or anything like that. But everybody knew in this league that we don't have the judgment, and again, as we said, we don't have the level of the umpiring from our naked eye to call somebody in a no ball. So I'll give you an example. So as Hamza Bhai is having his stance, but the thing is, there's a lot of times, as Zelmis or anybody else, I'm not sure, whoever, people are not getting called. The game before that, against Kings in Canada, there was a game, and there was Zelmi umpiring, and the guy actually asked that this guy is throwing, and the guy umpire said, there's no rule like that. Does it make sense? Shani, maybe he does bend a little bit, so that's why we know a little bit. But the thing is, that ball, when the umpire made the call, I'll send you that clip as well too. The actually ball that was called the no ball, his arm was as straight as any could be.
Okay.
So now my question is, The person actually made the call back saying yes, he chucks, because he assumed Shani chucks, right? So we think the whole rule was like they changed. We know he chucks a little bit. It's not the matter of that. It's the matter behind that.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff that's happening. So the thing is, if this rule has been going on, as Bamzabai was saying as well too, Shani has been called. Actually, Paul umpired him as well too in YYC game. The bird games that we have. He was umpiring that game. Shani was bowling that game. He was captain, actually. He bowled all these years. Nobody called. The umpire's call came in on the final when the banter came from outside. That does not make sense to me. It actually doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, I'm going to ask you something, if you don't mind. Zamay, a lot of people have said this, that you and the president have cooked the game with the umpire. Can you talk about that?
I would love to do that. But honestly speaking, Alhamdulillah, by the grace of God, we don't have cooked the games. I will tell you. I will give you a small example. When I was reaching in smash and grab final, Alhamdulillah, I know I will win. I will win the game.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah, I was so confident because I have I'm confident on my abilities and my team abilities. So honestly speaking, we do not need to cook anything, the game with umpires. Um, if you look up the history for last 10, 15 games, you can check Knight Rider versus CCA. Last 15 game, what was the result? So if the result is different, then yeah, I should do some cooking with the president and umpire. But last 10, 15 games, we had clear dominance on Knight Riders, and we know that we will take the game. Yes, we were down 2 wickets, but that moment at 12 over 105 and 2 down and 2 batsmen set means we were looking for 180-90, and at West Wind, 180-90 means chapter close, right? So, we do not have to cook the game. So there is no way that that's not going to happen.
Yeah, you made a really, or someone from your team made a lighthearted comment that we'll take the championships even if it's in the cereal box, right? So that some people loosely translated that, okay, you know what, they're gonna just take it no matter how the championships come, and even if that comes at the expense of buying the championship, they will buy it.
We do not have to buy it, but we can win it from our hands and with the bat. This, I can challenge any team in Calgary. Alhamdulillah, by the grace of God, any team in the camera, come and play with us. If they want to bet on it, I can do that too. Right? I'm not saying I will win it, but we will give them a good time.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And inshallah, in next 4 or 5 years, you will see CCA will be dominating CDCL and all other leagues in Calgary. That's my plan as a president. Is that we can talk about any other episode. That's
course,
not that.
100%.
Right?
No, of course, the quality of cricket can only improve if we have a good level.
100%.
Whether it comes from CCA or Knight Riders or any team.
So, see, Samir, there is a lot of work on the back. It's not like that. Quality. If you have to improve, then you have to work very hard on it. And I know how much work I had and Zuhair and all my teammates. We have been, we are trying to. I don't know what is the issue with the normal CDCL players. Nobody want to come and play for CCI. I don't know why, because they know they will not get a chance to bat. So honestly speaking, when we went in the final, we have only 9 guys. And, one guy, Fraz, he didn't play any game, and, 10 or 11, we were just packing up the things. So it's very difficult, but inshallah, in next 4 or 5 years, by the grace of God, I'm not saying we will win, but we have a good plan for CCA and for CDCL and all other, teams, that we will give every team a good time, if Allah wants, then,
When the team stormed off, I remember seeing the clip. I think Kamal was clapping off the umpire, and a couple of players were really upset. The stumps are thrown at the umpire. The ball is spiking through. What kind of behavior is that?
Yeah, we at Nighters, we don't appreciate that behavior. I think I talked to you on earlier stages as well too. Wherever there was a lot of emotions involved in it, just so you can understand that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that still it could have been a lot worse. And that was one of the reasons we decided to walk off. It's not like we wanted to give the game and say, you guys win. We actually walked up because the situation is going to get more tense and tense because you're looking at a playoff, elite division playoff game, right? And when the things happen, in the sequence that it happened, those things shouldn't have happened. But I know it happened. We do condemn it. It's not like there's a disciplinary committee on it as well too. So of course, and we as Niders, we don't support that behavior. We're clear about that. And I talk to those players as well too. And DC committee is going to look at it. But if you look at the context of the game, the way it was handled, I think it wasn't handled properly. And I still actually think our players, if there might be some other teams, it could have been a lot worse, and we have seen that as well too. I think we still managed enough to just walk off. And I know a couple of things happened in the beginning, but at least nobody was pointed off. At least nobody was, like, not to CCA. Actually, we went to Zoebai and we apologized. Like, we should have played the game, but it wasn't happening like that. We apologize for the delay. But it was a situation that happened during that time. The force, and you got to understand the context that it is. Again, I'm going to say, it's a lead division. There's a lot of emotions involved in it as well too, right?
Of course, all the hard work. And of course, in your defense, I would definitely say after winning the eliminator and
there's 3 games. Even Black Caps game was like last balls, 2 sixes.
Right.
Like,
that's not easy on a wet ground because there was a lot of rain and west wind. I am a cricketer. I know it's like
so to Hamza's boy's point, I know like CC is an amazing team.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, we actually at that day in time, we didn't have a doubt that we're not gonna win this, we'll lose this game. The reason why, when you do that kind of performance and then you dominate the first qualifier, dominate the second qualifier, the way we play against Knights as well too, if you see, we were on, like, this was the best Niders was playing. So if we had any chance, that was the best chance. So it was hard to walk off on that, yeah.
Plus, you have a good beginning, right? You got 2 major wickets, Saeed Bhai and Tanzil. As a cricketer, if I'm going to talk about that, you had a chance in the beginning, a good chance. But
100%.
Credit goes to Zuhaib and Vikas, played exceptionally well. And they, and it's in that I'm saying that we can have a good game, but in the cricket, you don't know what is the result,
Correct.
right?
100%. You never know.
I mean,
you don't,
especially the final game.
Right.
You have no.
I have in tournaments back in the days where Sarmad Bhatti, is a big player, and Tahir Bhai, we had a smash and grab where Baby Jacobs came, and 10, 11 superstars, and we were out.
Nothing. Yeah, I remember that.
This time we can see that a team that we have 6, 7 players from USA. They didn't even make it to playoffs.
They didn't even make it to playoffs.
They have amazing players,
really good.
just Andrew Watts and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a cricket result. You don't know, but at the given day, if you play, we know that. The reason why I'm saying I'm confident because we want to play a good cricket and we can try our best, and the result is in Allah's hand.
Yeah,
right.
True.
I think the issue is not so much the performance issue. Its issue is the way situation has been handled.
Yes.
Is what Night Riders are asking of,
Correct.
right?
You
So
got it.
it's more of how the situation was handled rather than who's going to win solely based on performance. So
True.
performance-wise, we don't know. Obviously, the way Vikas has been scoring runs, 200 is not a big total. I believe. I believe the way he has been played this season so far. So you never know. All you need sometime in T20 is a couple of players and it just changes the game.
Agreed.
And you would also agree that CCA is a great team,
Amazing
but
team.
any team can lose any day.
100%. We
And it
lost
happens.
from Preds in the beginning, right?
Yeah, it happens, right? It can happen.
Yeah.
So, no issues there. Okay. So now this one is interesting. When you guys walked off, obviously your WhatsApp group is probably really heated up. What was happening? What are the emotions that in the team, and what are the players saying?
To be honest with you, WhatsApp didn't happen that much because whatever it was on the ground, and we said we're going to take it from there. When we went all through this, and it was a mutual decision by everybody. We don't leave anybody behind. As Hamza Bhai said, there was a couple of options. We could actually go on and play the game, but playing the game, and I'm going to talk about that as well too. First of all, there was a few things happen, and when I talk about that, you're going to know exactly why we walked off as well too. Because first of all, we were told by the leg umpire and the executive that was there that after this there won't be any no balls called. Why was this communicated to us, right? Second of all, when I talked to Paul, then we were understood that there's no more no balls after this as well too. Now, when we went to Paul was clear. Like, he was like, no, if I feel like it's chucking again, it's going to be a no ball.
So why is a leg umpire lying to you?
So that's what it is. So there's few things that happen, and then the whole thing when they went down, Samir, he asked the leg umpire, was it a no ball? Can you look for the chuck? Presumably thinking that it's going to be a chuck. He said, yes, it's chuck. Right? It's a chuck. Now, I will share you the clip as well too. That ball, maybe the previous one was, I don't know, but that ball wasn't. So how can he did that, right? And then he went to the umpire and he said, in our league, there's no rule to call the no ball.
Who did?
The leg umpire.
Okay.
The leg umpire. There should be a statement. We can get a statement as well too. He said that there's a big discrepancy over here. And then when I heard from Paul again, and again, like nothing against Paul, that if I see it again, I'm going to call a no ball again. And then we said we're not on the same page here. Like, somebody else is saying we won't call it anymore. He's saying no, we'll call it again. And Shine's going to ball again. And then now the situation, if we play and something like that happens, situation is going to escalate way more. Like, does it make sense? So I think the best we were, and Paul said it too. I think, it was best at that time to leave, like, not to play. Because we didn't want like CDCL and everything else. So there's people who are news and something else is happening and what else is going on. So I think that was it. We left. And then to your point, people were upset, of course, because it's the whole thing that's going on from like last 8 to 10 years. And now you're just getting called. You got to understand, you're getting called on a final day. If this thing is communicated throughout the whole teams at the beginning of the season, we're well and good. We don't care. If we feel like Shani is doing this, we are okay with that. We're not going to. But the moment is, you got to understand, if anybody's doing that, you play the whole season and the final day you're getting called, and also I'm going to keep on calling until. Now we got to make that decision. So we said, you know what? After that, let's leave the situation, right? Let's get out of the situation. Then we'll follow up with the league to see what else can be taken on that.
So I just want to, just before I get to you, if you know that your player is controversial, he has a controversial arm.
Yeah.
For example,
yes,
I know my arm is not good.
Correct.
I don't bowl. I know it.
Yeah.
Right? And if you know your player has an issue, you mentioned Zulmi player for example. Everyone knows there's an issue.
There's a few people. Everybody knows. Sure. There's a few people. We all named them.
Let's say.
Yes.
Few people, they have an issue. Why make them bowl if they have an issue?
Yeah. So this whole goes down to, the whole thing is, let's say with particular player bowling, he doesn't chuck all the time. Like there's a bend in the arm, right?
Sure.
So at that time, the whole goes back to 7 to 8 years again. As I said, it was discussed not one, numerous times, and there was a conclusion given. And I talked to a few people. Like, I did my due diligence too. Like, this thing happened. Now I have so much things going on. I talked to a lot of people who've been with the league for 20 years. Every single person said, yes, this matter was brought up. Yes, we were there in the meeting, but we're not sure if it was implemented in the bylaws, right?
Okay.
If it was implemented, but this issue was there. So to your point, not just us, not just Nighters who thinks somebody's controversial a little bit. There's a lot of people who are in the same boat. As I mentioned, there was a game going on. They didn't call because of this. The leg umpire is telling the umpire that, hey, listen, there's no rule like that in CDCL. Now, if you go to MCC rules, the rules, yes, it says umpire's call. My question back is this. If a whole league, there's a lot of people that give unanimous consensus that this was there, that we cannot call. Why is one umpire giving the freedom that you can talk? And I saw Paul's interview. He said we had a conversation. When Paul talked to Cheval on that day, he just said, I talked to the league representative right before the game. That changed our situation. That changed, because if you're telling somebody talked to the umpire right before the game, the whole scenario changes. Now, on an interview, again, I'm not pinpointing Paul or anybody. In the interview, Paul said, I talked to him in June. Remember?
Right.
My question goes back to this. Why is only Paul being talked about chucking, and not every single other umpire knows? I say, if you communicate this to the whole panels, whoever's umpires, we will be all on the same page. Then you won't have the issue of somebody chucking or not chucking. Then we know exactly. Like, does it make sense? Now, I'm just going to add this in because we're talking about it. When Sami talked about this, because I went and I was in the same situation, I said, Sami, you can't call no ball. Sami's like, yes, I know. I told him we can't call no ball, but he did. What can I do? It's umpire's integrity. I said, what are you talking about? Like, we're playing like, T20 final and you guys talking about all this stuff. Like, what's going on? Let's move on with the game, right? It's easy to say neither should have played the game. It's easy to say, but we're looking at like a lot of different factors, right? So Sabir called the executive. Again, I'm not going to take name, but you guys understand. Sabir called the Sami called the executive, and he said, this is going on, blah blah blah. And he said Tayyiba is right here as well too. I personally talked to the executive. Executive said that this year the rule has changed. This year, it was talked about. I actually, Samir asked the executive, I will ask for the meeting minutes. When was this talked about? We all knew this is talked about. This is something that is there. But now we're just going straight to the bylaws, the MCC bylaws. So what's going on with like what? And another question to your last thing, I'm going to end it here. Why is only one umpire, doesn't matter June, doesn't matter before the game, is talked about that you can do the fair call. There's no bylaws. It's MCC rules all of a sudden. No other umpire knows about this rule, including the umpire that is leg umpire over there. And you can take a statement. He will tell you that according to him, there's no balls.
Now, whenever I talk anything slightly against the league,
Yep.
or I remotely mention another league, most of the time, league doesn't post my post on their page. So I know this one won't be posted either. But I'm going to say what I feel is right.
That's okay. Yeah.
This is what my channel is about. Right? I'm going to say what I want to say. And I don't care whose side it would go on. But for me, I'm here for cricket.
Yes, for sure.
Right? I have a question. Why do we have such big secrecy? If someone from my team wants to find umpiring rules, playing condition rules, is it that easy to find? If a new player comes on and he goes to our league's website, is it really easy to find rules? Is it?
No, it's not.
Why is it that way? If I'm playing a certain league, I should be allowed to know
exactly
what the
what's going
rules
on.
are. And it's always been that way. I have no idea as a member of the league, I have no idea what goes on in the meetings because those meeting minutes are never published anywhere. They're in the league books.
Yes.
So if we had the meeting minutes published somewhere, we would never had this conversation right now.
Correct. And I'm not sure. I wasn't involved like these last few years. Before, I used to be involved a lot with nighters. You probably knew that as well too. But now, I'm not that much. Like this year, I've actually been back into cricket. But last few years, I haven't been. Technically, I'm not sure how the league is going. But meeting minutes, when the meeting happens, I'm I was executive as well too. It should be actually sent out to all the teams within 2 weeks. I'm not sure if that's happening or not. I'm not sure. I can't comment. I'm not sure. I haven't checked the.
But back in the day, there was one point I brought up. I said, look, we have all these members. Why are we just sending the email to the captains? Why can't we send it to all the members? Maybe the captain is not so interested in following whatever, or the league representative or the team representative. Why can't this email chain go to everybody? We are asking for the email address when we're registering players. Why are we not using anything when we're asking for this information?
So, Samir, I think on your last question about it should be emailed to every member, I think there is a protocol which I think CDCL follows, which is correct in my opinion. They actually email it to team's email address, which is fine. It is responsibility of me as a CCA owner or Night Rider as a Tayyib's responsibility to post it on there and send it to the individuals, all the individuals, or put it on there. That's what I usually do. As soon as I receive it, schedule or something, then I post it on my CCA group. So it's, I think, responsibility of Shehbaz from Preds to post, to deliver everything on Preds group or wherever every individual plays. I think they follow the protocol. But on the other notes, I think Tayyib Bhai has a valid point. I would again stick with my point that it's ultimately umpires individual. We do not have a good level of umpires which can judge any actions. Umpires are not giving bold. So, I mean, this giving a no ball is a very, very small thing in my opinion.
Yeah.
Knight Rider has a stand, they walk out. I think that was a very small thing in my opinion as a cricketer and as a professional cricketer. They should have completed the game, but it's again Knight Riders call, whatever they are comfortable with. And in the end, I feel really bad that the game did not happen, and it should have been completed.
For sure.
Mm.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
We were on the same as well too. Like we wanted to play. Win or loss doesn't matter, Hamza bhai. But at the end of the day, the final needed to happen. But if you understand the whole story, there was so much. It's not just the matter of one no ball. There was so much other stuff going on at that time. It's just very hard to comprehend. But there's so much discrepancy in this that it's not a clear thing that's going on. Right?
Have you complained about this?
Yes, we have. We have officially complained about it, and actually, yeah, I'm going to go into this. It's okay. So the thing is, we need to go back to, because the thing is, we need to go back to the thing and find out when was the thing. So I think we need to look at the meeting minutes. That's one thing that's going to clear out. Second thing that we're looking at basically is, Samir, is how the call was made by Paul. Even if, forget about even the no ball or like, forget about the Niners walking out or anything else or the chuck or anything. The MCC rule says 21.2. It says, a lot of people raise the question that it shouldn't be the straight umpire's call. It should be the the striker ends umpire's call. And, that 21.2 actually policy mentioned it as well too. There's no such thing as only leg umpire can call the striker end. The front umpire can call that call too. But 21.3, if you look at it, the whole protocol, how you call that chucking no ball was completely wrong. How you call a no ball, if you look at number, I'll give you, is from the MCC rules where they got that rule. 21.3 says if the umpire feels there's a suspicious in action, he needs to call the no ball immediately right away.
Okay.
In our case, what happened? There was a 20 minutes conversation. That's not the proper way. You consult with the leg umpire, you call the no ball. Once you call the no ball, then you go to the bowler and the captain and you inform them that I called you. I called the no ball because of this. And you let the other, the captain know as well too, that if going forward, I'm giving a no ball, I'm giving a warning, and going forward, I'm going to keep on going if this happens.
Can I ask you something?
Yes, absolutely.
So Paul mentioned in his podcast that he noticed something. He went up to the umpire and he's like, hey, watch it.
Yeah.
And then the next ball, he called it.
No, he had to wait 20-minute wait before he called it.
What do you mean by he waited?
So he had a conversation with Cheval first.
Well,
it wasn't a right away call. The whole thing is you call it first and then you have the conversations.
Okay.
So we're talking about like the whole thing. There's a thing there as well too. We noticed he asked Sami apparently, right? And then he had a conversation. There was a delay of 20. We didn't even know what was going on at that time, right? And then after that, when he called the no ball.
So he was giving a warning to Cheval.
Yeah. And that was another confusing thing for us as well too. We thought it's just a warning, blah, blah, blah. And then he called it. So if you look at 21.3, it's clearly states you need to call the no ball first. You call the no ball right away. So the whole protocol itself, look at 21.3, I'll send you as well too. So there's that as well too. So yeah.
So what is Knight Rider asking for right now?
Yeah. I think not just Riders, if any team, even I think Hamza bhai was in our side, and of course I respect his decision as well too. Like they're pretty good with us as well too, and if I was in their shoes, they have all the right, to say what he stands for. But as of Riders right now, we're thinking about the whole rule regarding this. There's so much discrepancy that we need to first of all figure out that we have a game coming up against CCA again. We're just talking about on 13th, I believe, or 15th? 13th. On 13th, we have a game. Now, my question is this. If there's believe me, the half of the league is thinking we cannot chuck, right? And they're waiting for this decision or something. The decision is going to go on now. Because I think it took us 14 days to get just reply back. And I think it's going to go on if we have to look at the bylaws or whatever, meeting minutes and everything else as well too. But now, what are we doing according to this rule? If the league is saying that this is going to go through like that, I think we should be all communicated. But now I have another question for you. I have a lot of questions right now, but the question is this. In our T20 games, who's the second umpire?
In the final.
No, the league game.
In league games, who's the umpire?
Second team.
Second
Batting.
Batting team. Now what's going to happen? How are you going to resolve this? The batting team issue is going to be like, this ball went for a 6. I'm not going to call it. This ball, somebody got out. No ball. Exactly what was happening before too. Apart from Hamza Bhai's incident after that, I remember those few games that people were just calling no balls when they know game is tight. No ball. Why? Because the guy chucked. Maybe he didn't even chuck at that time. The whole thing, we're not just looking at our refinal or match or whatever it is. We are actually like, we're thinking about like, we need to have a proper chance. Doesn't matter if they want to play from there. Absolutely. When a
I
rematch.
would love to play.
Thank you,
honestly
Hamza Bhai.
speaking.
Thank you, Hamza Bhai. I appreciate that. I appreciate that you even just saying, I'm not sure what league is going to result, but I appreciate that you just saying, I have so much respect for,
Because
even just saying that.
I am a cricketer, right? I
Love
would
it.
love to play games.
I love it. And then that's what we want. Even start from there, But I'm just saying, before we even do that, before we even play 13th game, I think we need to understand, where is this rule standing?
Fair enough.
We're not going to go forward and let's say Shani bowls again and somebody else calls again. Or let's say if we're not going to bowl, let the league decide and we'll say, okay, we're not going to bowl him. Simple as that. Or he has to. Another thing is going to come up. The league maybe then has to, just like how we have a disciplinary committee, which is great. I think it's really great. There's a good committee. Last year, I think it led by Rohan. Right now, it's Anjan Bhai. Amazing. I think there should be, if somebody's chucking, umpire sees it, he calls it, warns the person, the proper rules. If they want to follow that rule as well, so if there's not CDCL rule, there's those MCC rules. But there should be a committee that this bowler cannot bowl unless 3-4 good cricketers. We have good cricketers here. They can check his action again, and it's clear to go.
I think it's a very good point. Why not
Something
league
like that.
made a good? Experienced cricketers, right? Like Zohaib, Saeed Bhai, right? Somebody from Night Riders, 4 or 5 elite team, one
Just
player from each
check his
team,
bowling action
and,
again. There's videos available. We don't need to go crazy. This video and then see check, right?
Yeah.
And if you feel like he's checking again, then you bowl again. Then that 100%. I agree with you.
One of the Zalmi bowler was banned in Alberta games. I would not name it. Back in 6-7 years before, because he was allowed to bowl in the league, but when he played for Alberta, he was selected to play for Alberta. And then they banned him. And same thing with Ganesha bowler.
Yes.
He was bowling well, but as soon as he went in Alberta, they told him, your action is not good. So that if it's going in a higher level and they're stopping players, I think it should happen in a league stage. And again, I mentioned you that I've been emailing league from last 3 years for one particular bowler, and no action has been taken.
So that's the whole discrepancy right here. Like Hamza Bhai is just saying, he's talking about one person, there's no proof. All of a sudden, one umpire gets the whole thing that you can call chuck whatever you want. My question, there's 2-3 questions that stand. Why is one umpire communicating? Nothing against Paul, again, he's an amazing guy. But why is one umpire being communicated that you can call it? Nobody else in the league, none of the other umpires know. Yeah. But if we need to come up with somebody, Night Riders support it. I'm sure everybody like Hamza guy supported. We support
cricket.
If they're saying that a little bit of chuck or whatever it is, if any of our player or anybody else's players is chucking, there should be a strict protocol that this was going to happen. There should be a committee. I'm just saying this is my thing, but it could be something else. But there should be a committee.
Yes.
Go there. He fixes it. He's good to go. If he doesn't, next time something happens, the committee reviews again. There's videos now. We're playing in a video. Yeah. They can watch again. He did it again. Sorry, you're banned now. You can't. You got to improve your cricket, man.
You can bat or field, whatever.
Yeah, you can do bat. You can do whatever, but not bowling. I think that's what it is. But I think we need to, Samir Bhai, to be honest with you, it needs to be clear out before, because as of now, the rule still stands. Like there's no clear communication. Shani might bowl, and I just don't want the same things happening again and again, right? Like, give us a clear-cut thing that's going on.
So if Shani bowls on the 13th or 15th or whenever the match is, are you going to be...
But it's not even him. Let's see who's the umpire. Now, if there's
it's not up to us.
Yeah, it's not.
They bowled against us in last 40 over match, and we were fine with that.
Yeah.
But I had a conversation with the Sani on the side. That's me and between Shani. But again, it's up to the umpire.
100%. Now, if the premier umpire is okay with it, he might be okay with it. Yeah. But now the problem is another umpire goes, what happens if somebody, there's a few people, even might be in Perds as well too, I can see it. Let's say you guys have a final. And now the umpire comes and starts calling some people, right? What if it's to my discretion? And another thing is to my discretion. I'm the umpire.
Right.
And I feel like even a leg spinner, maybe he chucked and I start calling it now. What are you going to do about that? So I think there's few things that are going to go with. The umpiring has to get better. It has to be neutral, good level umpire that, as Hamza Bhai said, nobody can question them. Like, okay, we all agree that, if Zoe Bhai calls me a chuck, I'll be like, okay, maybe he saw something. It was great. good call. Not a problem.
Yeah, makes
Does it make sense? So there's that. There's a few other things as well too involved. But I think league has to figure that out before 13th game as well too. And there's a lot of other people too. I'm sure they're concerned. There's a lot of other teams that are concerned on how they're going to pull their bowlers going forward. So there should be a clear communication going forward.
Definitely, and this kind of blew up a little bit, especially in Calgary and in Edmonton. So definitely, people are upset that at least we should have had our final. So in CCA's defense, I would definitely say that the game should have continued.
Yeah.
Obviously, they didn't want to win like this.
Yeah.
And it's big of him that he's saying that he would love to play and win the way he want to win, right? So.
See, unfortunate part, sorry, Samir, I'm cutting you off, is my observation as a cricketer is very small. And what I see is we are focusing more on the lower division teams instead of elite. Elite is just an elite. They are just like a regular players, go and play. But I can defend my point by saying we can see how many Premier and Division 1 game happening in inland. Right?
Yeah.
So it's mean we want to make them happy so they can come and play in inland or West Wing, right? Which should not be the case. We should be if I'm not able to play in elite, I should not be playing in inland. I have to make myself or my team like that in order to play in elite and for inland ground. If you want to play the inland ground, so we are focusing more on the lower division, Division 1 or Premier or Division 2 games are happening in inland because they wanted to play in inland. So the focus shifts from elite to other divisions, which should not be the case. Anybody come and play in elite, but you have to make yourself like that. You have to you have to hard work. You have to be on top of it, and then you're welcome to play. So there should be a reward for all teams. It's not about elite.
I agree with them.
Remember back in the day, like we only had like Premier
Riley and all the stuff.
Yeah, and also Premier, I think Div 1 when it was called.
Yep.
You would only have like 1 or 2 games a season.
Seriously, I agree with you.
Now there's so many.
I remember night riders. We were like in Premier or Div 1 or anything. We really wanted to play in inland, but then the league was always like, we actually recommended that they said you got to be an elite, you got to earn to play in inland.
You have to.
You know what I mean? Like
you have to.
Now, to your point, it's right. It's like Div 4 is playing in inland. Like what's going on?
So they want to give taste to everybody, but at the same time, what it's doing, 40 overs.
We are suffering.
Leagues cannot finish.
Right.
Because of that.
Even in my opinion, I honestly email league before T20 final that the final should happen in inland. Why it happened in West Wind? I don't know that. Inland is way better than West Wind. The grass is so big. I also emailed about that.
And especially when we played most of the games in inland as well too.
Yeah.
And then now we come to West Wind.
It doesn't make any sense. That's the quality of the ground too. It's like this big grass in like 1 feet grounds and West Wind. So you cannot hit 4.
That's true. That's true.
You have to hit 6.
Yeah.
And that's not a cricket. And inland is still better.
At least it's a competitive game in inland. And inland is the best ground we have.
Yes.
Hands down.
Yeah.
But Hamza's point is right. Like you play most of the games in inland, and all of a sudden you're playing final and playoffs in West Winds.
Doesn't make any sense.
Scheduling, you guys are not so.
No, just to accommodate Premier Division, so because they were playing at inland the playoffs, it doesn't make any sense to me. They have played all the games at West Wing, and all of a sudden they are playing playoffs at inland, and Elite is playing at West Wing. I don't know about that.
Challenging conditions.
And there is been concern that league executive has told us that we will have more people to come and watch at West Wing because it's in the northeast. I think that has changed now. People love to travel. We can see smash and grab final.
There was a lot of people in there. Yeah,
I think almost 4,000 or 5,000 people was there in the. I haven't seen crowd like that. I have been to a lot of tournaments at West Wing and smash and grab finals and Mehtaj and trucking finals at Martha Heaven and all the grounds in Northeast. But we can see even there was a rain out game. It was almost rain, but we have a lot of people. So I think that mentality should be changed and priority should be given to the elite teams. And then if you have, again, Tayyip's point, you have to earn it, man. You want to play in England, you have to earn it.
No, such a good point. Also, how many people really showed up for Elite T20 games to watch.
10, 12 people.
It's not so much the. It was so hot. It was such a hot day.
Yeah, it was.
Right.
Yeah.
So people are looking at their own convenience, not so much how far this. It's not like the people in West Wind, they're gonna just walk
Yeah,
to West
true.
Winds like zombies. Right. So these are good points, and I hope we can do something about this, not just talk about it. Because end of the day, if SAGMs and AGMs are just there for like whatever, then cricket is not going to
Yeah.
improve.
Yeah, 100%
So
agree with you.
rules like 40 over game. Okay, what is the realistic start time, and what is the next team that is going to play? Right? Is it a 35 over game, or can we just reasonably fit a 20 over game?
Yeah.
Or maybe two 20 over games,
True.
rather than fitting up another 35 or 40 over game in 2 days. That's impossible,
that's impossible.
especially in September now. Right? So, but that's the way the schedule is. So we'll see how things go. Well, I want to thank you both for coming on the show. And just before we wrap things up, I want to ask you if there's anything else that you want to cover, or anything else that you want to cover.
I think we covered a lot of stuff, and if Taibai want to point out something.
No, I think to just wrap up this whole thing, I think league has to be proactive on this rather than waiting it for a longer time. I think if we can have some kind of communication to all the teams that if we're going towards this way, then it should be that way. It should be still. I think there's still a lot of games left. There's gonna be a lot of stuff that's gonna happen in different games. Me as a part of CDCL, as a Knight Riders president, I'm just telling that if you're going that way, we need to have a clear communication to everybody. All the umpires need to know what's going on, how we're going forward, even to our next game and everything else. And again, have no discrepancy in this. We shouldn't have been treating somebody special, one umpire to anything else to a special thing. It should be a clear communication on how we're going this, and then have a result for us, like what's going on with the T20 final, because we do want to play it. We do want to play it, and if we play this year, that'll be great. Because next year, there's no point of playing this final next year.
And that has happened for so many teams in the
Right.
past.